Let's begin with something very simple, my dear, a breath and a thought. As you sit here, you don't have to pretend to be positive. You don't have to push away your worries, and you certainly don't have to fix your whole life in this one moment. Just notice your body. Notice the way your shoulders might be creeping up a little closer to your ears, the way your jaw might be holding on, the way your chest may feel a little tight. And as you notice, allow yourself to soften just a little. Take one gentle breath in through your nose and let it fall out of your mouth with a sigh. Imagine that with every out-breath, you are making just a little more space around you, as if you are opening a window in a room that has been shut for far too long. This is what I mean when I say positive change is in the air. It doesn't mean everything has suddenly become perfect. It means there is now enough space in you for something kinder, something easier, something better to slip in. You see, positive change rarely begins with big announcements. It doesn't always arrive as a new job, a new relationship, or a dramatic breakthrough. So often, it begins as a subtle shift inside you. You are slightly less hard on yourself than yesterday. You feel a little less desperate for someone's approval. You catch yourself about to react in an old way, and just for a moment, you pause. These are tiny movements, almost invisible from the outside, but they are enormous in the language of the universe. When you are a little less defended, when your heart is a little less clenched, when your mind is a little more willing to consider that good things might happen, you are already changing your vibration. You are moving from nothing ever works to maybe this could be different, and that maybe is powerful. It is an opening. It is a crack in the old wall that has kept the good out. So as we begin together, I want you to whisper with me, inside your mind or out loud if you can, positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. Again, my love. Positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. And one more time, letting the words float through your body, positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. You don't have to believe it perfectly. You don't have to feel fireworks. Just allow the idea to sit beside you like a gentle friend. Let it lean against your shoulder. Let it be an option. What if positive change really is in the air today? What if I am closer to a shift than I think? The moment you are willing to ask that question, your day begins to move in a slightly different direction. Now, let's talk to that intelligent, skeptical part of you, the part that says, "All right, Louise, but I've heard nice words before. How do I know anything is actually changing?" Your mind loves evidence. It loves proof. It is like a meticulous librarian who organizes all your experiences into neat sections. Times things went wrong. Times I felt abandoned. Times I succeeded. Times I was loved. And here is what your librarian does. It looks for the shelves you visit the most. If you constantly say, "Nothing ever works out for me," your inner librarian will faithfully retrieve all the memories that confirm this. It is not punishing you. It is simply following your instructions. So we are going to give your mind new instructions and new evidence. Think of positive change is in the air as a new section in your library. At first, the shelves may look very empty. That's all right. We're going to fill them slowly, lovingly, day by day. You do not need enormous miracles to prove this new belief. Your mind actually trusts small, concrete changes more than grand promises. So instead of saying, "My entire life is transformed," you will begin with, "Today, I handled that situation a little better than before." Instead of demanding, "Everything must change now," you will gently observe, "I felt a tiny bit calmer in a moment that used to overwhelm me." Can you feel how honest and grounded that is? There is no pretending here. There is only noticing. Each evening, I want you to become a collector of evidence for your new reality. Before you go to sleep, sit with yourself for just 1 or 2 minutes. You can write this in a notebook, on your phone, or speak it softly to yourself. Find 3 things, only 3, that show positive change is already in motion. First, a better decision you made today. Perhaps you chose to rest instead of pushing through exhaustion. Perhaps you chose to respond to a message later when you were calmer instead of reacting instantly from anxiety. Perhaps you chose to drink water instead of scrolling for another 30 minutes. These are better decisions. Second, a better reaction you had today. Maybe you paused before snapping at someone. Maybe you chose to say, "Let me think about that," instead of saying yes when you meant no. Maybe you spoke up for yourself gently instead of staying silent and resentful. Third, one good thing that happened, a small kindness, a piece of helpful information, a moment of connection, a sense of relief in your body, a laugh you didn't expect. When you record these 3 pieces of evidence each night, you are training your subconscious to look in a new direction. You are telling your inner librarian, "File this under positive changes in the air." This is important. Remember this. Over time, your mind begins to anticipate good instead of bracing for bad. It starts to say, "Oh yes, I remember. Yesterday something good happened. Today something good happened. Maybe tomorrow will hold something good as well." That is the evidence loop. Positive evidence feeds positive expectation, and positive expectation invites in more experiences that match it. Isn't that lovely? You don't have to force hope. You simply nurture it with small, undeniable facts. Now let's explore these wonderful surprises together. I don't want you to think of surprises as distant, mysterious gifts that only arrive for other people. Wonderful surprises come through very real doors. One of those doors is new information. This can be a sentence in a book that lights up your mind, a line in a video that feels as though it was spoken just for you, a phrase a friend casually says that suddenly rearranges your understanding. Have you ever heard something at exactly the right moment and felt a warm, gentle click inside? That is a wonderful surprise. It is life whispering, "Here is the piece you were missing." Or the say, another door is new connection. Sometimes a wonderful surprise arrives as a person. Someone you already know who steps forward to help, or someone you are meeting for the first time who brings encouragement, insight, or opportunity. It might be a colleague who shares a resource, a neighbor who offers support, or a stranger whose kindness restores your faith for a moment. You begin to think, I am not as alone as I thought. Life really does send me people when I need them. When your heart is even a little open, you begin to notice these humans as part of the universe's delivery system. The third door is new ideas. A wonderful surprise might appear as a new way of seeing an old problem. You could be washing dishes, or taking a shower, or walking down the street, and suddenly a thought pops in. What if I try it like this? What if I say no to that and yes to this instead? What if I don't need to fix everything today? These ideas are often simple, gentle, and practical. They rarely shout. They arrive in the quiet moments when you are not clenching so tightly around how things must be. This is why giving yourself even a few minutes of mental rest can allow the solutions to come find you. And then there is the fourth door, timing. Wonderful surprises often show up as right place, right time moments. You arrive somewhere a few minutes later than planned and bump into someone you needed to see. A meeting gets rescheduled and opens a space you desperately needed. A delay, which you once would have called bad, reveals itself as perfect protection or perfect alignment. The universe loves to use timing. When you assume that every change in schedule is a disaster, you miss the magic. When you begin to say, I wonder how this might be helping me, you start to notice how often life is playing in your favor behind the scenes. Now, my dear, you might ask, if wonderful surprises come through these doors, what is my part? Your part is to keep the doors from being bolted shut. You don't need to fling yourself open and exhaust yourself. You simply allow a little more contact with life. Read something uplifting instead of only consuming fear. Reach out to one person when you feel isolated. Take a short walk instead of spinning in your head. Ask one honest question instead of pretending you have to do it all alone. Try one small change in your routine that feels kinder and more supportive. These are ways of saying to the universe, I am here. I am available for good. I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. As you go through your day, I would love for you to hold this gentle attitude. I notice good where I used to miss it. Maybe you used to overlook a moment of calm because you were busy anticipating the next storm. Maybe you brushed past a compliment because you didn't believe it. Maybe you ignored a small bit of luck because you were comparing yourself to someone else's big breakthrough. Today, you can choose differently. Today, when someone smiles at you, you can say silently, there is one little good thing. When a task goes more smoothly than expected, you can say, there is another. When your body feels even 5% more relaxed than yesterday, you can bow in appreciation. There is positive change in the air. The more you notice, the more you invite. So let these words sit in your heart as you move on with your day. Positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. I welcome better outcomes than I planned. I notice good where I used to miss it. You are not forcing life to obey you. You are aligning yourself with a kinder frequency. You are learning to breathe in possibility and to breathe out old stories of disappointment. And as you do, life responds sometimes softly, sometimes boldly, but always in conversation with the new atmosphere you are cultivating inside. You don't need to get it right. You only need to begin. Take that in for a moment, sweetheart. So much pressure leaves your body the moment you stop demanding perfection from yourself. Life is not waiting for you to perform some flawless response. Life is simply watching how willing you are to choose one thought, one word, one small action that supports you instead of hurting you. I want you to imagine that every situation you meet today comes with a little invisible space between what happens and what you do with it. That tiny space is your treasure. That space is your freedom. You may not always choose the most enlightened response, and that's all right. You may still flare up, withdraw, feel insecure, but as you grow, you will begin to notice the space. You will hear yourself internally say, "Wait, I could respond the old way, or I could try something that makes my life a little kinder." You won't do it perfectly, but you will begin. And beginning again and again is what transforms your whole story. I often say that a great deal of what people call luck is really the way they respond. Two people can face the same difficulty. One sinks deeper into self-attack, and the other slowly leans into self-support. The event is the same, but the inner script is very different. You cannot always choose the event, darling, but you can learn to choose the next sentence in your own mind. That is your responsibility, your ability to respond, not just react. A reaction is old programming. It is your nervous system replaying yesterday's fears. A response is a conscious choice. It is you, right here, in this moment, deciding, "I will not abandon myself again. I will choose a thought that helps my life go in a better direction." You do not have to pretend to like what is happening. You do not have to deny your pain or your disappointment. You simply add one more voice to the room inside you, the voice that says, "Yes, this is hard, and I am still allowed to be kind to myself as I walk through it." So the next time something goes wrong, the email you didn't want to receive, the silence from someone you hoped would write back, the bill you're worried about, notice what your automatic mind wants to say. Perhaps it whispers, "Here we go again," "Nothing works for me," or "I'm such a failure," or "This always happens." That's the old track. Just notice it. You don't need to fight it. Then, gently, like turning the dial on a radio, choose one new sentence. You might say, "I choose to respond in a way that makes my life better," or "I am willing to see this differently," or "Something in me is growing, even if I don't see it yet." These are not magic spells. They are invitations. You are inviting your nervous system to calm itself, inviting your creativity to come back online, inviting your heart to stay open enough to see the unexpected good that could still arise. Imagine, for example, that someone disappoints you. The old reaction might be to spiral. "Of course they did. No one ever shows up for me. I knew I shouldn't have hoped." That reaction slams the door on positive change. It tells life, "Don't bother sending anything new. I've already decided the ending." A new response might sound like, "This hurts, and I acknowledge that. And I also choose to believe there are people who can meet me with care. I am learning to walk toward those people." Do you feel the difference? The event hasn't changed, but now your heart is not dragging the weight of a life sentence behind it. You have left room for a new kind of relationship, a new kind of experience to find you. That is responsibility. That is how you become a partner with the universe instead of feeling like its victim. I want you to practice this with something very simple today. Choose one area that is bothering you, just one. When your mind begins its usual story, pause and breathe. Put a hand on your heart if you can. Then say softly, I choose to respond in the way that helps my life grow. Say it 3 times, gently. I choose to respond in the way that helps my life grow. I choose to respond in the way that helps my life grow. And then ask yourself, what would that response look like right now? It might be to drink some water. It might be to step away from the argument. It might be to send one honest message. It might be to do nothing at all for a few minutes while your body settles. You are not being graded. You are learning a new language. Every attempt counts. Now, let's talk about expectation, because your expectations are like the weather system around your life. Perhaps for a long time your inner forecast has sounded like probably more of the same, or don't get your hopes up, or if something good happens, it never lasts. These expectations are heavy clouds. They color how you see every event. When I invited you earlier to say, positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me, I was not asking you to demand that life bring you one specific miracle at 3 p.m. Today. That is not expectation. That is control dressed up as spirituality. What I want for you is soft expectation, what I call flexible optimism. Flexible optimism means you lean toward the good without insisting on the form. It sounds like something good is on its way, and I'm open to how it arrives. It is very different from this exact person must love me, or this exact job must work out, or this specific plan must happen or I have failed. Rigid optimism turns into pressure. It says, if the miracle doesn't look like my script, then there is no miracle. And your poor heart, already tired, feels as though it must push and push to make life behave. Flexible optimism, however, is like a soft, trusting hand that life can hold. It says, good will come in the way that is most right for me. It is a friendship with the unknown, not a war against it. Think of it this way, my love. You can plant a seed without controlling exactly which leaf will open first, which direction the stem will bend, what hour the blossom will appear. You water the soil, you make sure there is enough light, and you expect growth, you expect green, you expect life. But you allow the plant its own wisdom about how to unfold. This is how I want you to treat your day. When you affirm, positive change is in the air, you are planting a seed. When you practice noticing small evidence of progress, you are watering that seed. When you remain flexible about how the positive change appears, you are giving it sunlight instead of shade. Of course, there will be parts of you that protest. But if I don't cling to the specific outcome, what if I end up with something worse? That is the fear speaking the part of you that learned long ago that safety meant control. We are not asking that part to disappear overnight. We are simply offering it some new information. We might say, "Sweetheart, I know you are afraid. I know you think that if we don't hold on tightly, everything will fall apart. But look at all the times in the past when something didn't go the way we planned, and yet later we could see a hidden gift. Perhaps a delay that led to a better opportunity. Perhaps a heartbreak that taught us what we truly deserve. Perhaps a closed door that protected us from harm. Maybe we can allow life to be wiser than our fear today." Flexible optimism is a conversation between your courage and your vulnerability. Your vulnerability says, "I'm afraid of being disappointed." Your courage says, "And yet, I am willing to keep my heart just open enough for good to reach me." One way to practice this is through a simple morning and evening ritual. In the morning, you might say, "I expect good today, and I release my grip on how it must look." In the evening, as you review your day, you ask, "Where did something turn out differently than I planned, and how might that secretly be serving me?" You won't always see the answer right away. That's all right. The question itself is important. It keeps you available to a reality in which life is not your enemy. Let's play with a little example. Suppose you apply for a particular job and do not get it. Rigid optimism might say, "But I affirmed that I would get this job. Where is my manifestation?" Positive change must not be happening. Flexible optimism says, "I am disappointed, and I allow myself to feel that. And I also hold open the possibility that this no is clearing space for a better yes. I continue to affirm that I am guided to the right work with the right people at the right time." Then, instead of collapsing, you stay curious. You update your resume. You talk to someone new. You notice an unexpected posting. You explore a path you wouldn't have seen if you had been locked into one outcome. This combination of feeling your feelings and staying open is what keeps the air of positive change moving around you. You can practice the same principle in relationships. Perhaps there is a person you wanted very much to stay. Flexible optimism does not force you to pretend you are glad they left. It simply reminds you that their departure does not end the story of your worthiness. You might affirm, "I am worthy of love that stays and grows. I am open to relationships that respect and cherish me." You allow the pain to move through your body like a wave, and at the same time, you leave one window open in your heart. Through that window, new forms of love can enter: supportive friendships, deeper self-respect, family healing, a future partner who is better aligned with the person you are becoming. Rigid optimism would insist that this one person must be the surprise. Flexible optimism recognizes that the surprises of love can take many forms. Notice how this way of living is lighter. You are not forcing yourself to be endlessly cheerful. You are not scolding yourself for being sad or frustrated. You are simply refusing to collapse into the idea that this is the end, nothing good can come. Instead, you are saying, "This is a chapter, not the whole book. Positive change is in the air, even if the page I am on is messy." That is such a powerful stance. It allows you to honor your humanity while still aligning with possibility. You become both honest and hopeful, grounded and open. Life can work with that energy. Let's give your mind a few simple sentences it can use when it wants to turn expectation into pressure. When you hear the inner voice say, "This must work out exactly like this or I'll fall apart," you can reply, "Good will come in the way that is most right for me." When the voice says, "If there's no miracle by Friday, then nothing is happening," you can gently answer, "Positive change is in the air, even when I can't see it yet." When the voice says, "I can't stand not knowing," you might put a hand on your heart and say, "I am learning to live inside the space of not knowing, because that is where new things are born." Each of these responses loosens the tight knot of control and lets a little more fresh air into your day. Remember, my dear, your job is not to micromanage the universe. Your job is to keep your inner atmosphere as loving and receptive as you can. Your job is to choose responses that make your life kinder, even when circumstances are imperfect. Your job is to expect that life is capable of surprising you in ways you could not have planned, and to stay flexible enough to recognize those surprises when they arrive. Some days you will do this beautifully. Some days you will forget. Both are part of the journey. When you forget, you simply notice, smile a little, and begin again. So as we close this part of our time together, I'd like you to breathe gently and repeat after me in your own heart. I choose to respond in ways that help my life grow. Once more, I choose to respond in ways that help my life grow. And now, softly, good will come to me in the way that is most right for me. Again, good will come to me in the way that is most right for me. Feel how these words create room, a little more space in your chest, a little more room around your thoughts. That space is where positive change enters. That space is where wonderful surprises find you. And day by day, as you practice responsibility and flexible optimism, you will discover that your life really is changing, sometimes quietly, sometimes unexpectedly, but always in conversation with the love you are willing to allow. My dear, so many people sit very still in their lives, in their habits, in their thoughts, and then they feel hurt because nothing ever happens or nothing good finds me. And I understand that. When you are tired, when you have been disappointed, it can feel safer to freeze, but energy moves with movement. Think of a little leaf lying on a still pond. If the water never stirs, nothing touches that leaf. The moment the water begins to ripple, the leaf is carried. It meets other leaves, it brushes the edge, it sees the sky from different angles. Life is very similar. Positive change loves momentum. Wonderful surprises are very fond of people who are willing to take even the smallest step. You do not have to sprint. You do not have to change your entire life by Friday. You only need to be willing to wiggle just a little bit out of the old stuck place so that life has something to respond to. Momentum is not about exhaustion. It's about direction. There is a big difference. Overworking from fear is not momentum. It is panic. Momentum, the way I am speaking of it, is simply a gentle habit of saying, I will move, even a little, from the universe's point of view. When you are in motion, you are easier to bless. You are like a little boat already on the river. The current can carry you. When you refuse to move at all because you are waiting for the perfect sign or the perfect mood, it is much harder for wonderful surprises to reach you because there is no point of contact. So today, instead of asking, "Why hasn't anything big changed yet?" you might ask, "Where can I give life one small yes?" You'll be amazed how often that tiny yes opens doors you did not even know existed. Positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. Let that affirmation be not only a feeling, but a decision to take one small step that says to life, "I am available." This is why I love the idea of a simple 7-minute momentum practice. 7 minutes is so small that the fearful mind cannot protest very loudly, and yet it is big enough to shift your energy. In 7 minutes, you can clear one little corner of your desk so that new ideas have somewhere to land. In 7 minutes, you can start a draft of that message you've been avoiding sending, or jot down a rough outline of a project that has lived only in your imagination. In 7 minutes, you can walk around your space, open a window, breathe in fresh air, and tell your subconscious, "I am moving. I am alive. I am not stuck." The content of the action matters far less than the fact that you did something. You could call someone important, send one application, delete 10 old emails, read one page of a book that inspires you. When you repeat this each day, you create a thread of movement, and life loves threads. It knows how to weave them into patterns you could never predict. Think of a day when you feel heavy. You may not have the energy to fix your whole house, your work, your relationships, but could you, for 7 minutes, bring order to a tiny space? Perhaps you put 3 things back where they belong, or you wash just the dishes that are in the sink, or you write a single paragraph toward your dream. That action does something inside you. It whispers, "I am capable. I am in motion. I am not a victim of this day." And because you showed up in that small way, opportunities have something to hook onto. Maybe after cleaning your desk, you suddenly feel like returning one message. After writing one paragraph, you feel inspired to write a second. After taking a short walk, your mind quiets enough for a new idea to float in. This is how surprises often come, as the next obvious step that only becomes visible once you are already walking. So you do your 7 minutes, and then you say softly, "Positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me." You do your part, and you let the universe do the choreography. Now, let's talk about the air around you, because the title we are working with says, "Positive change is in the air." Air is not only the oxygen you breathe, it is the emotional climate you live in all day long. I would like you to pause and gently ask yourself, what am I breathing in every day? Not just with your lungs, but with your mind and your heart. What are you breathing in through the television shows you watch, the accounts you follow, the conversations you keep returning to? Are you breathing in drama, complaints, criticism, fear? Or are you breathing in kindness, hope, creativity, beauty? If you were a little plant, would the air in your inner environment help you grow? or would it stunt you? This is a very important question, and I want you to approach it with curiosity, not shame. We are not here to scold you for what you have watched or listened to. We are here to help you love yourself enough to protect your own atmosphere. Your emotional environment is made up of many threads: the people around you, the content you consume, the sounds you allow in the background, even the pace at which you live. If you are constantly immersed in stories that say, people can't be trusted, everything is going downhill, you are never enough, then of course you will find it difficult to expect wonderful surprises. The air is full of proof that life is dangerous and disappointing. But if you begin to introduce voices that say, you are capable of change, there is good happening in the world, you are loved, then something inside you starts to breathe more deeply. You do not have to cut everything and everyone out of your life overnight. That would be more pressure. You can begin very softly with what I like to call a 24-hour air diet. An air diet is not about starving yourself of pleasure. It is about feeding yourself cleaner air. For just 24 hours, you choose to reduce one toxic source and increase one clean source. Only one of each, that is all. Perhaps you decide, today I will not read the comments section that always makes me feel small. Or today I will not scroll through that account that fills me with comparison and envy. Or today I will not allow myself to sit in a conversation that is only gossip and complaint. You don't have to fight anyone or make dramatic announcements. You simply step back. You turn down the volume on that channel. At the same time, you turn up one source of nourishing air, soft instrumental music, 10 pages of an uplifting book, a walk where you notice 3 beautiful things, a few minutes sitting under a tree. You might listen to someone who speaks with calm and hope instead of outrage and panic. You might have a gentle conversation with a friend who believes in you. Imagine how your nervous system would feel if, for just one day, it did not have to inhale so much alarm. Imagine drinking a glass of clean water after weeks of sugary drinks. That is what a clean air diet feels like to your mind. It does not mean you never engage with reality or difficult topics. It simply means you do not drown in them. You become selective. You remember that your mind is your home, and you are the one who chooses who walks through the door. This is what I mean when I say protecting your mind is an act of self-love. You are not being sensitive or weak by limiting the noise. You are being wise. You are saying, I am precious enough to deserve an inner climate where positive change can take root. End quote. As you practice this, you may notice resistance. Perhaps a part of you says, but I'll miss out if I don't constantly check the news. Or if I don't listen to all my friends' complaints, they'll leave me. Or, I've always used these shows to distract myself. What if I feel too much without them? Be very kind to that part. It has been using overstimulation as a way to cope. You might say, thank you for trying to protect me from boredom, from loneliness, from pain. Today, I'm experimenting with a different kind of protection, one that nourishes me. Remember, you are not cutting yourself off from life. You are creating enough space for your own soul to be heard. When the outer noise goes down, the inner guidance can turn up. I would love for you to design your own gentle air diet for the next 24 hours. You could even write it down. Today, I decrease this one toxic air. Today, I increase this one clean air. Maybe your toxic air is an account that always makes you feel behind. Maybe it is a chat group that only shares worst-case scenarios. Your clean air might be 10 minutes sitting in the morning light with your coffee and no phone. It might be playing one song that makes you feel serene. It might be watching a lecture that inspires you to learn or grow. It might simply be silence. Then, as you move through your day, notice how your body feels. Does your breathing change? Does your chest feel a little less tight? Do you find it easier to believe that positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me when you are not constantly inhaling despair? Momentum and environment work together, my love. Your little 7-minute actions are like steps on a path, and your air is the weather that surrounds that path. If you take steps while breathing in discouragement all day, you will quickly exhaust yourself. If you sit very still but breathe in encouragement, you may feel hopeful but directionless. When you combine the two, small daily movement and cleaner emotional air, something beautiful happens. You begin to see those surprises we spoke about. An idea pops into your head because your mind is no longer cluttered with 10,000 other people's opinions. A conversation lifts you because you chose to spend time with someone who cheers for you rather than drags you down. A little opportunity appears, and because you are already in motion, you can say yes. As we close, I want you to place a hand on your heart if you can, and take a comfortable breath. Then say quietly inside, I am willing to move even a little. Once more, I am willing to move even a little. And now I am worthy of breathing cleaner air. Feel the truth of that. You are worthy of environments that nourish you. You are worthy of music that soothes you, words that uplift you, people who respect you. You are worthy of a life where your nervous system is not constantly under attack. You are worthy of days that feel lighter, not because everything is perfect, but because you have learned to choose what you inhale and how you respond. Remember, my dear, you do not have to force miracles. You only have to give them somewhere to land. One small step, one gentler piece of air. One evening where you notice a tiny good thing instead of scrolling through fear. Positive change is in the air, and you are learning to breathe it in. And as you keep doing that, day after day, do not be surprised when life begins to send you little gifts, then bigger ones, and you find yourself saying with a smile, I really do expect wonderful surprises to come to me because I am moving and I am breathing in a kinder world. And now, my dear, let's weave everything we've been talking about into the way you speak to yourself. You see, the words you use are not just labels on your day, they are little steering wheels. Every sentence you repeat to yourself turns your inner wheel a degree to the left or to the right. If you keep saying, nothing ever changes for me, you are quietly telling life, please show me more of the same. If you gently shift that to, I am learning to welcome positive change, you are whispering, I am willing to turn towards something better. This is what I love to call raising your language standard. It doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful when it is not. It simply means you stop using words that slam the door in your own face, and you start using words that leave the door at least a little bit open. We are not painting over the wall. We are opening a window. Let's look at this together in a very human way. Perhaps your old sentence is, "I'm so worried all the time." That sentence is like standing in the middle of a room and announcing to every cell in your body, "We live in worry. Plan accordingly." The nervous system hears it and tightens. The breath shortens. The mind begins searching for proof that worry is necessary. Now, if you tried to jump straight to, "I am perfectly calm and joyful every minute," your inner self might rebel and say, "No, we are not. This is ridiculous." That is what I call fake positive. It does not feel respectful. So instead, you might say, "I am learning how to be calmer," or "I am practicing feeling safe, one breath at a time." Can you feel the difference? The first sentence locks you into a problem identity. The second sentence acknowledges where you are and turns you toward a solution. You have not denied your worry, but you have refused to crown it as your permanent truth. Here is another example we mentioned. "It will probably go wrong again" can become, "I am on my way to a better version of this." The situation may still be messy. You may still have things to fix. But one sentence tells your heart, "Prepare to be disappointed. It's inevitable." And the other tells your heart, "We are learning. There is movement. There is hope." Even a sentence like, "Nothing ever changes," holds you in a little prison. You can shift it to, "I am planting the right seeds," or "Change is building quietly, even if I can't see it yet." You see, my love, the new sentence is not a lie. It is a perspective. It says, "I choose to tell the story in a way that helps me grow, instead of in a way that makes me give up." That is what I mean when I say you do not have to speak fake positive. You simply speak in the right direction. I would like you to think of your language today as a kind of dress code for the day's energy. When you dress yourself in harsh, hopeless words, the day feels tight and uncomfortable on your skin. When you dress yourself in gentle, hopeful words, the day sits more loosely. You can move. Every time you catch the old sentence coming up, "I'm so slow. I'm always behind. I mess everything up," you can pause and ask, "How can I say this in a way that still tells the truth, but points me toward healing?" Perhaps "I mess everything up" becomes, "I am learning as I go, and that is okay." Perhaps "I'm always behind" becomes, "I am moving at the pace that is right for me today." We do not argue with your feelings. We simply refuse to carve them into stone. You might like to play a small game with yourself for the next few days. Whenever you say something heavy about yourself or your life, gently add, "and I am growing." For example, "I feel so confused right now, and I am growing. This is harder than I expected, and I am growing. I made a mistake, and I am growing." That little tail at the end of the sentence lifts the energy. It reminds your subconscious that this situation is not a dead end. It is a classroom. Over time, your inner world begins to expect growth instead of punishment. And when you expect growth, you start to notice the lessons. You start to see where you are becoming stronger, wiser, kinder. That is when the affirmation we began with, positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me, stops being just pretty words and starts feeling like a description of your daily reality. As your language softens and rises, something else beautiful begins to happen. You become a co-creator with life instead of a victim of circumstances. This is where we talk about those wonderful surprises. So many people imagine surprises as random lottery tickets the universe throws at a chosen few. In the way I see it, wonderful surprises are often the natural response to people who are willing to cooperate. When you fight every change, argue with every delay, and insist that everything must happen your way, your energy becomes rigid. Rigid energy has a hard time receiving new possibilities. Life feels hard, closed, against you. But when you say, I will do my part, and I will allow the rest to unfold, the field around you softens. Doors that were invisible begin to shimmer at the edges of your awareness. People think of you when opportunities arise because your energy says, I am open, I am teachable, I am ready. Cooperation does not mean lying down and doing nothing. It is not passivity. Cooperation is a loving partnership between you and the greater intelligence that runs this universe. Your part is to show up, to take the steps you can see today, to keep your language aligned with your intention, to choose environments and habits that support your well-being. Life's part is to arrange the meetings, the timings, the intersections, the piece of information, the gentle nudge that you could not possibly have orchestrated on your own. You do not have to decide everything. You only have to keep asking, what is my part today? Notice the softness in that question. It is not, how can I force everything to happen now? It is, what loving action is mine to take in this moment? Perhaps your part today is as simple as sending one email, cleaning one drawer, doing one set of stretches, or having one honest conversation. Perhaps your part is to rest, to recover your energy, so you can meet tomorrow with a clearer mind. Perhaps your part is to make that phone call you have postponed because you are intimidated, but also excited. When you keep asking, what is my part today? You stay in motion without carrying the weight of the entire future. You say to life, I trust you enough to let you do the heavy lifting. I will be responsible for the step in front of me. That kind of cooperation is extremely attractive to wonderful surprises. It is as if you are putting out a welcome mat that reads, good things are not intruders here, they are invited. I want you to see how this all fits together. You raise your language standard so that your words are walking in the same direction as your desires. You take small actions so that your energy is in motion. You clean your emotional air so that your nervous system can breathe. And then, instead of demanding that life deliver one specific outcome on your schedule, you open your hands and say, I welcome better outcomes than I planned. Do you feel the relief in that? It means you no longer need to control every detail. You are willing to believe that there are versions of your desire that are kinder, more beautiful, more suitable to your soul than the one picture you have in your mind. It means you are willing to be pleasantly surprised. So, when something does not go the way you hoped, you can practice cooperating rather than collapsing. Instead of telling yourself, "See, nothing ever works out," you might say, "This is not what I expected, and I am curious how this could be redirecting me towards something better." Instead of, "Everything is ruined," you might try, "I am in the middle of the story. It is too soon to judge the ending." These are not just comforting phrases, they are energetic choices. They keep your heart open enough to notice when a new opportunity glides in from the side, disguised as a delay or a detour. Very often, the wonderful surprise is hiding just behind the door that disappointment tried to shut. Right now, as you listen, you might place your hand on your heart once more and ask quietly inside, "What is my part today?" Do not strain for a dramatic answer. Let a simple, kind thought rise. Drink more water, clear that paper pile, apologize where you need to, begin that application, write down your ideas, step outside for fresh air, watch something nourishing instead of something that drains you. Trust the first gentle instruction that feels clean. Then tell yourself, "I choose to do my part and I allow life to do the rest." You do not have to know how the surprise will come or when. You only have to keep your inner door unlocked. My dear, you are not powerless. You are not doomed to repeat old patterns forever. Every time you choose a kinder sentence, you shift your frequency. Every time you take a small, aligned action, you create momentum. Every time you protect your mind from unnecessary poison, you make room for fresh air. Every time you ask, "What is my part today?" you step into cooperation with a universe that is far more loving and creative than your fears would have you believe. So let us affirm together, very softly, "Positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me." Again, positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. And one more time, positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. You do not need to be perfect to be blessed. You only need to be willing. All right, my love, let's make this very real and very gentle with a tiny practice I like to call 3 doors in one day. In the morning, when you first wake up, you open door 1 by placing your hand on your heart, taking a slow breath, and whispering our affirmation. Positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me. Then you choose one simple word to carry like a little lantern for the day. Open, or light, or brave, or calm, just one. Let that word sit in your chest and color your attitude. At midday, you open door 2 by taking one small action that opens a channel for good to reach you. You ask a sincere question, you send one email, you try one new approach instead of the old pattern. It does not have to be grand. It just has to be a movement in the direction of your better life. And at night, before you close your eyes, you open door 3 by writing 3 simple lines. What good visited me today? It might be a kind smile, a solved problem, a little moment of relief. You are teaching your mind very kindly, that good is present even on ordinary days. As we close this time together, I want you to understand something very important. Expecting good is not demanding from the universe. It is making a promise to yourself. You are not forcing life to obey you. You are gently training your mind to stop rehearsing disaster and to start cooperating with possibility. When you say, "I expect wonderful surprises," you are really saying, "I commit to keeping my heart just open enough to notice them. I commit to standing on my own side." So we end with a soft, powerful choice. I choose to see the good. I choose to live as someone supported by life. And now, one last time, very slowly, let's seal it together. Positive change is in the air, and I expect wonderful surprises to come to me.